Today I'm diving into House LLC Lineage from 2025, written and directed by Stephen Cognetti and starring Elizabeth Vermilia, Sierra Sawyer, and Mike Sutton. You can watch it right now on Shudder. Look, I've followed this franchise from the beginning, and I still remember watching the first one thinking, this is the future of found footage. And to be fair, that first movie absolutely earned its reputation. But as the series continued, the cracks have gotten bigger, and with Lineage, those cracks pretty much split the whole thing apart. Let's get into this breakdown. The story is overcomplicated to the point of being frustrating. Instead of building a clean, logical continuation, it tries to force all the previous films into one sprawling mythology. The problem, the pieces don't naturally fit. The film introduces new characters who don't add anything meaningful, and it stretches itself thin trying to explain connections the franchise never needed. The core concept isn't bad, but the actual writing muddles everything until it's too hard to track what's going on in the movie and what it wants to say. It's a classic case of ambition outweighing execution. The pacing in this one is rough. There are long stretches of dialogue where nothing is happening and the entire scenes could have been removed without changing the plot. The movie drags when it should be building tension, and it rushes through moments that actually needed more weight. That imbalance kills momentum. And then there's the ending. One of the weakest conclusions I've seen from this and any franchise. Not shocking, not earned, just messy and unsatisfying. The characters are overloaded with unnecessary backstory, almost as if the writers thought that adding more information equals depth. Instead, it clutters the narrative and crowds out any real development. The acting ranges from serviceable to noticeably weak. In the earlier films, the found footage format did a good job of covering rough performances. Without that stylistic shield, those flaws are up front and center. Nothing about the characters feels grounded or memorable. This category should be a given for a Hell House movie. Eerie mood, tension, religious fear, that creeping sense of doom. Instead, the film feels strangely flat. Scenes that should be dripping with dread just aren't. The tone constantly shifts but never settles to anything impactful. For a movie about heaven, hell, and the fate of souls, it's shockingly lifeless. It should feel spiritual, supernatural, at least unsettling, but there's no atmosphere to hold on to. Here's the one area where the film succeeds completely. It's genuinely beautiful. The wide landscape shots makes Rockland County look sprawling and cinematic. The framing, the color work, the compositions, this is easily the best looking film in the entire franchise. Cognetti shifting more confidently away from the pure found footage gives the movie a polished, visually appealing style that almost doesn't belong in the same series. If the rest of the film matched the visuals, we'd be having a much different conversation. The gore and the makeup effects look great, whenever they do show up. The dead are particularly well designed, and some of the practical work is a step up from the previous entries. The issue is simply the quantity. There's just not much of it. What's there works, but it wasn't enough to elevate the overall experience. The iconic piano theme is still one of the strongest elements of the Hell House brand. It instantly brings you back into the franchise's world and carries a weight that the storytelling no longer lives up to. The score overall is effective, and this category is one of the few that genuinely deserve full points. This movie doesn't bring anything new to the table. It reuses ideas, reworks old beats, and tries to build mythology out of elements that weren't designed for it. The result feels more like a remix of a franchise leftover than a fresh direction. There's no new spark of innovation or surprise, just familiar territory stretched way too thin. There's no emotional punch. There's no fear. There's no sadness, no attachment. When a Hell House film is working, you feel something. Dread, anxiety, that pressure in your chest, waiting for the next reveal. Lineage never gets there. What I felt after watching it was anger and disappointment, and neither one of those count as emotional resonance. This is absolutely not a film I'd revisit. It doesn't justify its runtime, it doesn't offer anything new on a second watch, It also isn't something I'd recommend unless you're a hardcore completist who needs to see every entry no matter how far the quality drops. Once is more than enough. House LLC began as a modern found footage classic. Each sequel has drifted further from what made that first movie so effective, and Lineage is the biggest slip yet. IMDb gives this one a 4.1 out of 10. For me, it's a 3.0 out of 10. Dead on arrival. Right or wrong, weak or strong, these are my opinions.